In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to train for a marathon. Are you ready to take on the challenge of your first marathon or improve on your last one? If so, this video is for you. I'll be covering all aspects of marathon training, from setting realistic goals to nutrition and equipment. So strap on your running shoes and let's get started. And by the way, if you're training for a marathon, let me know your tips or share your experiences in the comments section below. So first up, how long will it take you to train for a marathon? Well, running a marathon is a serious commitment and you need to show it far more respect than you would a 10K or even a half marathon, for instance. The length of time it will take you to get marathon fit depends on your current fitness, but we're talking anything between 12 weeks and 12 months. To get fit for a marathon, you'll need to build up gradually so that you can eventually comfortably run 20 miles or 32 kilometers as your longest training run. And then once you're comfortably able to do that in training, you should be fine to add the extra 6 miles or 10K on race day. So don't feel like you need to run a full marathon in training, because it'll leave you feeling sore and tired for several weeks afterwards. To work out how long it will take you to get marathon fit, start with how far you can comfortably run today. Then add 0.6 miles or 1 kilometer per week to that until it takes you all the way up to 20 miles or 32 kilometers as your longest training run. For example, if your longest run currently is 6 miles or 10K, it would take you 22 weeks to safely build up to marathon fitness. Whereas if you can currently run 10 miles or 16 kilometers, it would take about 16 weeks for you to get marathon fit. Sure, some people train for a marathon in less time than that, but it's not optimal. Because if you don't leave enough time for training, it will force you to ramp up your training too quickly, which can lead to injury. So the lesson is, enter a marathon that's far enough in the future to give you time to train properly. Did you know that 30% of runners get injured while training for a marathon and that 15% don't even make the start line? That's why I recommend you follow the 5% rule. This means avoiding increasing your weekly mileage by any more than 5% each week. Many of you will have heard of the 10% rule actually, which is more commonly known, but in my opinion, increasing your training by 10% per week is too much. For example, 10% could see you increasing your weekly distance from 35 to 51 miles in just 4 weeks. And that seems like a risky bet to me, and I feel like it's safer to stick with a weekly increase of 5% or less. Remember, your primary goal when training for a marathon is to make it to the start line feeling fit and well and ready to race. And if you get injured before the race, all those other goals will become worthless anyway, so you need to get there first, and that's your primary goal. For optimal marathon training, I recommend anything between 3 and 6 runs per week, depending on your fitness, goals, and availability. 3 runs per week will give you the best bang for your buck, especially if you're someone who struggles to find the time to train. Any additional runs you do are beneficial, but they're also subject to the law of diminishing returns. In other words, doing 6 runs per week doesn't make you twice as fast as doing 3 runs per week. I've known people who've run some great marathon times with just 3 well-structured training runs per week. That said, the best marathon runners in the world run 6 or 7 days per week, often twice per day. So there's no wrong or right here, and you just have to make the best decision for your own situation. The other thing to add here is that some runners are naturally good at soaking up a high weekly mileage, while others, myself included, are unable to cope with high mileage and do better with less training. So before deciding how many runs you should do each week, consider things like your availability, goals, fitness, and your ability to cope with high mileage. Your training should include easy runs, long runs, and interval training. Easy runs help with recovery and build your aerobic fitness. Long runs are crucial for building endurance, and interval workouts improve your speed. Which means that aside from the easy runs, you should build your training week around 2 key workouts. The first is the long endurance run, which you should do once per week, and your long run would start at whatever feels like a comfortable distance for you. And then you would want to build that up by no more than 5% per week. Run at a conversational pace, but over time, try to include some efforts as well at your target race pace. And this is so that your body becomes efficient at this pace. The second key weekly run is an interval session, which is designed to raise the ceiling of your running speed. These runs should include some short, sharp efforts to boost or maintain your VO2 max, as well as some longer efforts at 10K or 10-mile race pace to improve your lactate threshold. A sample interval workout for an experienced runner would be 2 lots of 5 minutes at around your 1-hour race pace with 90-second recoveries, followed by 5 lots of 1 minute as hard as you can sustain throughout with 90-second recoveries. And don't forget to include a warm-up and cool-down jog. Just like your long runs, your interval sessions also need to start off relatively short and easy, and then you would gradually build up slowly over time to do either more efforts or longer efforts. Any other runs you do during the week should be done at an easy conversational pace. Some runners also include a third key session in their week, which is a midweek moderately long run. But it's only something I recommend to robust runners who are adept at soaking up lots of training. Personally, I keep my easy runs to between 30 and 40 minutes in duration, and I usually run around 2:40 for a marathon on race day. But anything between 20 and 50 minutes for an easy run is normal, depending on which stage you're at in your training. Setting realistic goals is important in the lead up to a marathon. This is because on race day, it's really easy to get carried away and run too fast in the first half of your race. It's a really common mistake that I've made myself, and it makes the second half of a marathon feel incredibly difficult and unpleasant. So to help stop you doing that and to help you gauge your expectations and pace yourself better, I've provided links to 2 different marathon calculators in the video description below. And you should use both of these calculators together to combine and give you an idea of what marathon time you can expect based on your current fitness. Then on race day, you should aim to run fractionally slower than your target time for the first half of the race. And then in the second half, you should forget about your target times and run according to how you feel. Doing this will help you accurately pace your marathon and avoid the painful mistakes that many others make by pacing it badly. Your nutrition plays a vital role in your marathon training. So focus on a balanced diet that's rich in carbohydrates, proteins, and healthy fats. You should also time your meals and snacks around your training runs so that you're well fueled before and well fed afterwards. For example, if you run in the mornings, eat a light carbohydrate-based snack 30 to 60 minutes beforehand, and then have a healthy and filling breakfast soon after that. And doing this will give you more energy for training and also help you recover and adapt faster afterwards. If you're running for longer than 1 hour, you should take some fuel with you on your run, like carbohydrate energy drinks or gels. And this will help keep your energy levels from running out too soon. Research also shows that you can train your gut to cope with increasing amounts of fuel by practicing it regularly during your training runs. So during your longer runs, aim to consume 1 or 2 gels or energy drinks per hour initially, and then gradually over time, see if you can slowly build up to taking 3 or 4 per hour. Additionally, you should experiment with different fueling options during your long runs to determine what works best for you on race day. Investing in the right gear is crucial for your comfort and performance. Running shoes are obviously the first thing to consider, so take your time trying different pairs before you buy and choose the most comfortable, because comfort has been shown to correlate with injury prevention. You might also consider getting some lighter shoes for race day. And light shoes are faster because it costs you less energy to keep lifting a light shoe than it does a heavy one. However, lightweight shoes can also be less durable and in some ways less comfortable. So you do need to weigh up the options and choose the most appropriate pair for your needs. And you should also replace your shoes every 300 miles or 500 kilometers. Otherwise, the support and cushioning breaks down and leaves you more susceptible to injury. Aside from other things like vests, shorts and socks, the only thing I'd recommend you get is either a fuel belt or a pair of shorts with pockets or hoops to carry things like energy gels, because you'll need that during your marathon to carry those things. And while you can usually pick up energy gels and drinks at aid stations during the race, you can't actually rely on it, so you do need to carry stuff. If you have time, it's a good idea to include strength work and stretching into your marathon training regime. Strength and flexibility are important to help you maintain an economical running position for longer, as well as to delay fatigue and reduce your injury risk. I include strength and conditioning videos and guidance with all my marathon training plans on Training Peaks, and you can preview them in the link in the video description below. Another good option is a book by Jeff Horowitz called Quick Strength for Runners. As for stretching, there's nothing to beat regular yoga. The beauty of yoga is that you're more likely to be relaxed when you're performing the moves, which helps you achieve a better stretch. Plus, you'll perform a range of stretches rather than over-focusing on just 1 or 2. If you don't have time to attend a yoga class for yourself, there are some good 10-minute yoga videos on YouTube specifically for runners. If you're wondering what to eat in the last couple of days before your race, the answer is carbohydrate. Research shows that if you can top up your stored carbohydrate in the final 48 hours before a marathon, you'll run stronger for longer on marathon race day. You can achieve this by eating a higher ratio of carbohydrate than you normally would in the last 48 hours before your race. And that means eating less protein and fats and replacing it with carbohydrates such as pasta, rice, oats, and low GI breads. Remember, you don't need to eat more food generally, otherwise you might get an upset stomach. So stick with the same plate size that you would normally have, but with a higher ratio of carbohydrate on the plate. You should also avoid high fiber foods such as corn and raw vegetables before a race, because these can lead to stomach upsets during your event. And the final thing to mention is that in the last 2 weeks before your race, you should gradually reduce the duration of all your workouts so that you're fresh and race ready come race day. This is known as tapering, and it can lead to improvements of 3 to 6% compared to if you didn't taper. You should keep doing your key workouts, just make them shorter than usual so that you feel relatively fresh afterwards. It's too late to increase your fitness at this late stage, so your goal, with 2 weeks to go, should be to taper gradually, maintain your fitness and recover so that you're fresh and ready to go. So that's how to train for a marathon. You just need to know how long to train for, how many runs to do, how to avoid injuries, what workouts to do, how to adapt your diet, how to pace yourself, and how to taper for race day. Good luck if you're training for a marathon, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more running and triathlon videos.